So we know this World Cup was really expensive and pretty much all the stadiums were new. So now what happens? In all, they cost $10 billion to build. That's like $1.25 billion each. But Qatar want to show that they've learned from past events like in Brazil and Athens and China, where these giant structures have been built and never used again. Those are called white elephants. Stadium 974. You may have heard about this if you were watching the games, but some of you just may have missed it. 974 is Qatar's international dialing code, but it's also the amount of shipping containers that were used to build the stadium. With a capacity of 40,000 people, it was actually the first temporary stadium in World Cup history. They broke ground in 2018 and had the whole thing done 3 years later. It's pretty impressive. And it will be dismantled. It was built on an artificial promontory, and it's going to be taken down to be basically just a seaside park. Now, the organizing committee of the World Cup said that they tried to use as many recyclable materials as possible to be able to move them on later once the tournament was over. Hassan Al-Tawadi, he was the leader of the organizing committee, he said, "We used materials from sustainable sources and implemented innovative legacy plans to ensure our tournament doesn't leave any white elephants. To achieve this particular goal, we canvassed local communities to find out what facilities they needed and implemented their ideas and suggestions into stadium developments and precincts. The result is detailed legacy plans, including a proposal to remove the modular upper tier from several stadiums and donate the seats to countries in need of supporting infrastructure." And that is actually happening to quite a few of the grounds. The Lusail Stadium, the place of the final, the giant golden bowl, it had a capacity of 80,000 people, but the vast majority of the seats are going to be stripped away. It's going to be turned into basically a giant shopping center, and the pitch will be used as greens for people to walk around on. Not too dissimilar, the Al Bayt Stadium, the one that looks like a tent, it's also going to radically change. Most of the seats are going to be completely torn off. The upper tier will be removed, and there will be a new 5-star hotel, a shopping center, and a sports medicine hospital. And then there's the Education City Stadium. This one will be cut from 40 to 20,000 seats. The stadium will be used by the university team. I don't really think they're going to be able to fill that many seats as a university team, but it will be their field. And the entire grounds are going to be used as basically a sports science university. Part of Qatar's plan is to actually donate a lot of the seats that they have. 170,000 is what they've counted they're going to remove. And they plan on just giving those to other countries. There's something else that we never really talked about much, and that was the air conditioning. No, I'm not talking about the air conditioning in the hotels that got people sick. I'm talking about the air conditioning in the stadiums that made it cooler for players to play. What's interesting about this technology is Qatar is very proud of it, and they decided not to put patents on this technology. Developed by Saad Abdulaziz Abdul Ghani, a professor of engineering at the Qatar University, he calls it a potential game changer for countries in really hot climates. He said, "That's why I made sure anyone can use it. It's one of Qatar's many gifts to the world." It's kind of interesting. I don't know how much this was spoken about. As a matter of fact, I came across multiple articles before the World Cup that explained all of these plans, including on Qatar's 2022 website. You can see all this that they've broadcast. Now, the question is, what will actually happen? The stadiums that are being cut down and kept as football stadiums, well, 40 to 20,000 seats in a country that is so small and does not have these kinds of attendance records might still not look good. But this is a longer term vision for Qatar. They're hoping that a lot more people decide, I'm going to go live there. And maybe they grow their population and they're able to sustain what they built here. But it's going to take time. It's going to be very interesting to see what this all looks like. You have to remember, the Hellenikos in Greece, the place where they did a lot of different events, is now just overgrown by nature. It's been very difficult for Brazil to find use for that stadium that they built way out in the Amazon in Manaus. Qatar, yes, they're a very rich country, and so they have the means to just do this kind of stuff. But they may as well if they can, as opposed to have these giant structures that clearly only belonged for 1 month ever.